Advanced version, exercise number 7, clenching the fist and sparkling with the eyes. Exercise for the liver, gallbladder, wood element, primary liver. You've already realized, I guess, that most of the exercises in the Baduan Chin set are actually working upon the yin organ, but obviously, as everything is connected, the yin and the yang organ are both things that get a benefit out of the exercises. Now, exercise number 7, advanced version. Actually, there is not that much to say. There is a couple of things where we can vary the exercises. Why? Because we can modulate using different foci, different aspects of moving, different directions to release in order to direct the energy differently and in order to get a different feeling in the body because we use different muscle groups. And a different coordinational approach. Now, the exercise as done in the basic version looked like that. We came to the side, come in, out to the side. Here, make sure that the elbow isn't stretched through completely when you tense. So what we want here is that the arm is really sideways of the body, not back there, not too far in the front, but really sideways. And look at my elbow, it's not completely bent through. That's very important whenever you tense the muscles on both sides of a joint. Make sure the joint is in a nice equilibrium that's specific to this joint. So also for the knees, for instance, never ever tense both sides of your legs once your knees are locked out to the rear. Same goes for the elbow. Don't lock out your elbow to the rear. It will also put your shoulder into a very funny position, so nothing that we really want. Once again, sorry for this small step to the side in the explanation again. I come in, inhalation, inhalation, exhalation, tense, come back to the middle, inhale, tense, inhale, come back in the middle, sink the arms down. Here you also have this light bend in your wrists. It's like as if you were pushing down on the surface of water or something like that. Like say you stand about belly deep in water and you actually push yourself up on this water surface, standing up all the way till the water only reaches about hip deep. Then you come to the other side, in, once again start to the left side, out, have this release, in, out, have this release, come back to the center, open the arms up and push gently on this water surface before you rest your arms or go into the second part of the movement. Once again, because we're doing 2 on either side, one whole sequence. So coming to the left, left, right, middle, coming to the right, left, right, that counts as 2 exercises already. All right, now, first option of variation here. If you want to gently activate this liver energy, this wood energy in your system, but you want to focus more on its calming and supporting aspects rather than the really energetic pushing yourself up aspects. Because you see, the wood element has a lot of different aspects in it that have to do with explosiveness, with movement, but also, on the other hand, with gentle flow, with continuation, with creativity, being spontaneous. So everything that has to do with motion, with movement, with going from here to there, may it be in the physical body or in your mind or in your ideas or in your actions in general, it's all there. From slow movement, gentle movement, to being the most stable, calm and sensitive person, to a very explosive, sometimes even aggressive person. Being aggressive and like being really outraged is one of the negative aspects of the wood element, so-called negative aspects. And so if you want to focus even more on this stable, nothing can shake you aspect of the liver aspect, of the wood element aspect in the physical body, then do the following. Start your exercise just the same as you would do normally. In, out, in, out, in. Then come to the right side. And now start with the first exercise to the right instead of the left. To the left the second. Come back. And then to the middle. This will take a little bit the edge off. This will calm the energy even more, although there is this pushing aspect, this energizing aspect in it. But it will be a little bit more gentle than the other version. So that's one of the possibilities. Second possibility, I think I talked about it in the beginner's version already. Choose whether or not you want to sparkle with the eyes or not. This one, sparkling with the eyes or not, is you can take this aspect into either one of the options I just showed you. Either you go left, right, step to the side, left, right, with or without sparkling the eyes, or you go to the left, left, right, go to the right, right, left, with sparkling or without sparkling the eyes. You can vary, so there are a lot of different options, a lot of different levels on which you can actually do this exercise. There is one more interesting option that you can do. As the wood element has to do with movement, with being in nature, with reconnecting with natural aspects and elements, one of the aspects of the wood element is also wind. As all those aspects are there, it's quite interesting to sometimes change the coordinational aspect in your body. Coming in, pushing the left hand out. In the beginner's version I said, release. And the arm will naturally drop to the front and start to turn your body. Which is correct, because we don't want the arm to be back there. If the arm is back there, so pulled into my back area, then the hip would rather turn to the left than to the right. But there is still an option to turn your hip to the left instead of letting it fall to the front. And this option comes out of the ability to relax muscle groups in a certain sequence. It's a directional release aspect. This directional release enables you to actually choose whether you want to go to the front or to the rear with this hip shake. What do I mean? I come to the side. This is what we did so far. And we'll just simply let the arm drop and let the hip turn to the front, to the right side again. Option number 2. is this. So from the point of tension, actually letting go in your legs in such a way that the relaxing part of the movement actually goes backwards. So moves your hip in the same direction where it just came from. Because after the inhalation, the left hip was back. Now we are pushing it to the front. The first version is a continuation of this movement, back to the front and in and out. But you can also do it, not all the time, but as a variation. You can also do it, come in, left hip is back, pushes to the side and release to the side. After that, the movement is almost the same than before. So once again, you have the gathering movement. Once again, you have this pulling in the right hip now to push out the right arm. So that's all the same. And then on the right side again, you have the option. Either let your right hip drop to the front, or let your right hip drop to the rear and come back. When I say let it drop, I mean exactly that. It's extremely difficult to teach exactly which muscles you should release at what time. I could tell you, but I think it doesn't make any sense because it's something that you have to feel in your structure. Once you're at this side, with the arms stretched out, you had this tension. Just stand there and try. Two things. You do that, what we did in the beginner's version. You just let your arm drop and relax your legs in such a way that the left hip turns to the front. And the other version is that you relax your legs in such a way that the left hip turns to the rear. I think the main difference between the two, coordination-wise, is a time difference in where you release first. And this time difference is a minute one. It's like maybe a split second. In the first version, it's letting go in the legs and in the arm almost simultaneously. The second version, where you're in here and out and you relax, there is a split second before you actually let the arm drop. You relax your right knee and the front of your left shoulder. And this will naturally bring your hip back. But I don't want to go in any further detail about that because at this stage you've already made experiences with your body. You already feel what it is that moves. You already feel your joints, you already feel your muscles. So go exploring. There are a couple of options that one could do that don't make any sense at all. Yeah? Like for instance, coming in here, pulling the left hip to the front while trying to rise the left arm and then punch out this way, that just doesn't work. It's completely against the flow and it's actually a contradiction in itself. Because from that position you would never ever punch out like that. It puts your shoulder into a strange position that puts a lot of strain in the front of the shoulder. That's just not really working. So there are ways that support the flow and that enable you to link the movement to the next one. And that's always the most important aspect to be aware of when you try to adapt a movement. Still, some of the basic principles have to be upheld. One of the principles, everything is in motion or everything stops. Another principle, one flow aspect should naturally flow into another. Or you are at, say, an end point where there is only one way to go, which is exactly the opposite than where you came from, which is coming up here, pushing up, letting go, and come back down. All right, so obviously there is a slight difference between coming up and coming back down. The arms don't go 100% the same path. But for the untrained eye, it would seem as if the movement goes in one direction and goes back the same. Here we have circles. We have almost a figure eight that we shape with our arms while doing this exercise. Remember this flowing aspect. When I do the movement completely in flow now, it's important for the 7th exercise to put this tension in at the end. But I show you what the movement looks like when you flow completely without the tension, just so you get an idea what I mean with the flowing aspect. Whether or not you slow down certain parts of the movement doesn't matter at the beginning. What's important is that you understand how the movement works, what it does in your body. So sometimes it makes sense to train a movement just for the sake of the coordination, the way I did it right now, without tension, without focusing on too much on the breathing or something like that. Just the most dangerous aspect in doing it like that is that out of joy you start to try to do too much. It's like don't do anything like that. Keep in mind the basic structure. Keep in mind a flow lives of the minimum it needs to survive. What is the same in all the variations I just showed you is that there is one active turn and the other two are passive ones, if you remember what I said in the beginner's version. So this one is dropping to the right. In. That's an active one. Passive. No matter if you go to the front or if you go to the rear, that's a passive one again. Then you have an active whoop. Turn again for the gathering of the second side. And then you have the passive one again. That's how the movement is linked. So whenever you're looking for flow, look for the points. Where do I have to work? And when do I have the option of letting go? When do I have to work? And when can I let go? Doesn't matter if it's this exercise, this Baduan number 7 exercise, or whatever exercise else. Doesn't even matter if it's an exercise or if it's dance or moving during the day. We'll talk about that a little later. Okay, I guess that's about it, the advanced version or the options to adapt this 7th exercise. Have fun exploring. If you have any questions, let me know.